The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. These Best You EXPO talks are recorded in front of a live audience in a live event. We highly recommend that you focus on the message. As they say, what you focus on expands. Enjoy. Lisa Garr. Based on a desire to live in a more conscious world, Lisa Garr created The Aware Show, a transformational radio show about natural health, cutting-edge science, personal growth, and spirituality. Since 1999, Garr has hosted the daytime talk radio program Being Aware, featuring best-selling authors and experts in the fields of spirituality and healing. Garr is considered an expert in the field of lifestyle transformational media programming. She also hosts a series on Gala TV called Lisa's Inspirations and has one of the largest telesummit series online. In LA, listeners hear her every day on KPFK 90.7 FM and WBAI in New York. And she's a regular weekend host on Coast to Coast AM, syndicated to over 500 stations around the world. Garr is also a successful author, and her story of how she created The Aware Show from a dream during a tragic accident is outlined in this new chicken, Soup for the Soul, Dreams and the Unexplainable. So enjoy her talk. I've had the pleasure of being interviewed by Lisa a few years ago, and she's just a tremendously professional and inspiring lady. And the title of her talk at the Expo, the Best You EXPO, was Prosperity Evolved. Reset your brain for money, success, and free. Enjoy.
Thank you so much for being here. I am Lisa Garr. I host a show called The Aware Show, and it has been on KPFK for 18 years. I'm also on Hay House Radio, Gaia TV, and soon to be on Sirius XM. And it is a wonderful journey to be on this wonderful journey, because it wasn't necessarily my idea. And I'll explain to you how this happened. I was working in television production, and as the world of TV production goes, it was a little bit stressful. I don't know if anybody's been in a stressful job before. Anybody? Where the stress kind of overcomes you and you realize, all right, the stress gets bigger than you actually are. And clicker work, working on clicking. There's stress. So as I was going through this experience, I met some friends who were really cool. They figured out how to handle the stress. They were mountain bikers, and they got me into mountain biking, which I loved because I love nature. I've always been really athletic, and I really love the experience of going out with a group of really cool people and experiencing nature together. And so they got into mountain bike racing, as you do, I guess. So I went with them because it was fun. And we would go on these really cool, mountain bike races are just a bunch of very cool people that you get out in the mountains somewhere with. You get in a starting line, and it's basically you versus nature. It's girl v nature. It's not really a competitive experience. For me, it wasn't. I found it much more supportive than anything, and I got to be with really wonderful people. So I find myself in this particular race, and this kind of looks like this, and it's 27 miles. It's about 5,000 feet of climbing, and it is 108 degrees on this particular day. It was really, really, really hot. For me, I didn't experience it as being as hot. It was like a frog in a boiling pot. I had a 100-ounce Camelback on my back, and I was drinking water throughout this particular race. And it was the end of the race, and I was done in my head. I just had to cross over this top of this mountain and then go down this hill, these switchbacks, and it was all downhill from there. How many of you ever experienced where it's all downhill from there and then you give up? Have you ever done that? That is exactly what happened to me. is I knew that, okay, it's almost over, and that must have been where I passed out. I was on the bike, and I was at the top of this mountain, and this was my vantage point, and I fell all the way down the mountain to where that lake is. The lake was on the left, and I just tumbled. I must have hit a rock because my helmet was shattered in like 13 pieces. It was really shattered. I don't remember this because the memory loss, as I was explained by the doctor, is retroactive. So when you go through this type of experience, you don't remember the impact. And because of the severity of my experience, I didn't know what had happened. But what I did know, and was probably the most important thing, was my experience after that. My experience of traveling was, my bike was at the top, I was at the bottom, and I started to go into this extremely peaceful state. It wasn't the experience of pain like you would think it would be. It wasn't the experience of wanting to continue the race. It was the experience of complete, expanded consciousness. It was wide open. It was like as blue as the sky. It was as seamless as the clouds that float through the sky. It was as boundaryless as there's nothing to compare it to. I felt everything that was. I became the tops of these pine trees that were swaying. I was the wind. I was the clouds. I became it all. There was no separation between me and anything else. It was completely all one. And I didn't even know what oneness was, what consciousness was before this. I was actually in a very unconscious environment. And from this experience, I hung out there in this beautiful, blissful state. And it was the absence of my body. I didn't feel my body at all. I didn't even feel a thought, because a thought would have been separate than that experience. It truly was all one. And ever since then, I have been trying to recreate that experience. So then I started to hear these feelings and these thoughts that were very loud, and they were unfamiliar, and they weren't mine. And they were the feelings of these medics that were helping my body. And I heard them, but I didn't hear their words. I heard their thoughts. I heard their yearnings. I heard their purpose, if you will. I heard their experience of what they wanted to do. Some of them were really on purpose with being a medic. Some of them had their soul somewhere else, wanting to be an artist. Some of them liked each other, and I felt that. I felt this. It was very unfamiliar to me to have all these different yearnings. And I remember this so completely clearly. And these were the people that were assisting my body. My body started to fail at that point, and I heard a medic say, "Turn her body to the side," because I was vomiting from the dehydration, so that I wasn't going to choke on that vomit. And they said, "Get her in the helicopter." And I heard the blades, but none of it was registering into my body, because I really clearly wasn't there. I was watching the whole thing. I watched this wonderful guy that I went to the race with, that I broke up with, help me. I saw the energy between he and I thought, wow, that's really significant. It was colorful, and it was silver, and it was beautiful. I saw everything from a different perspective. And I realized if I could do that at that moment, why can't I constantly recreate that? And I had this feeling of just a total connection to everything, and there was no pain. Because pain, again, is separate than us. So I was airlifted to the hospital. And I remember going into the hospital, looking at these walls, not knowing what I was doing there, or what my body was. I was starting to come back to my body. And a doctor said to me, "What is your name?" And I went to explain my name to him and tell him who I was and where I was born and all of the things they ask you in the hospital. And the minute I went to say it, I choked. It was like all of the words went from here and they got stuck or lodged in my throat, and I couldn't speak those words, and I panicked. I panicked because I knew it, and I was trying to say it, and the words would not come out of my mouth. And at that moment, I went back into fear. I went back into that place where I forgot that whole experience of oneness, completely forgot it. I went into the moment of panic, that moment where I just choked and I couldn't remember anything. How many of us forget our purpose when that fear is present in our lives? How many of us throw it out the window when that fear stunts us? It freezes us. It makes us forget who we are. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I was in that place of trying to communicate to this doctor and realized later, much later, that I had damaged the prefrontal cortex and also the center of my brain where the memory was housed and the language center of my brain. And I didn't know this. I didn't realize that I had done all of this damage, and that was the reason why I couldn't speak. So they released me. There's nothing you can do for a broken brain. You can't put a cast on it. You can't do anything for it. You just send the person home. I didn't know or remember where I lived, and they sent me home. And the beautiful person that went to that race with me, who I had broken up with, allowed me to stay with him for 3 months till I regained some idea of who and where I was. And I found my way to this wonderful Dr. Barry Sturman, who showed me, after doing a brain analysis, which parts of my brain were dormant. He was doing amazing work with kids who had epileptic seizures, and he was helping these kids not have seizures any longer. And I was in the waiting room with their parents, and I was listening to their parents regain their relationships with their children because this man was helping so much through neurofeedback. Neurofeedback's been around for 50, 60 years. It is such an incredible modality. It's getting to be much more popular now. You might know it as biofeedback. It's available in every city, in every country. It has studies that actually can help you get off of medication. It could improve your, not only memory, it improves relationships with fear. It improves ADD, anxiety, autism, the whole spectrum. It's an incredible modality. I'm a big fan of neurofeedback because it really did save my life. A year and a half later, I was working with this program where I would have to build this hot air balloon with my brain, and my brain would send a signal to the computer, and if the signal was at a certain frequency, it would show me one little square of this balloon. And we all know the image of the hot air balloon being very colorful. And I would get one little square, and if I sent that same frequency back, I would get another square. But the minute I started to lose focus or go into that negative, diffused way of thinking, the balloon would disappear. And my squares would disappear. Those squares I worked so hard for. It took me a year and a half to build that balloon because that's how long, through practice and through repetition, it took my brain to actually rebuild the neural bridges in order to regain the cortex that I had damaged.
Having promoted more than 600 speakers and more than 65,000 people attend my seminars and courses and workshops and expos, having read so many books and attended so many courses, I really realized that the basics of personal, professional growth is based on the power of the question. Asking yourself empowering questions. Read my new book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose. It's based on my work, 30 years of entrepreneurship, all the experiences that I have, my manifesto, and what's really important. So for more information, go to www.thequestion.co.
After that, I was so incredibly impressed that you can rebuild a brain that I had to let the world know about it. I could not any longer just go back into producing daytime talk about washing machines and blow dryers and not let people know that you can rebuild a brain and that you can completely change your life, and that's possible. All it takes is choice and decision. And so I started to explore things like, now keep in mind, I completely forgot about this near-death experience that I had, that oneness state that I had. But somehow I started to find my way into classes about intuition, classes about your inner guidance. And I started to have this concurrent dream. It was actually a reoccurring dream that kept coming. And it was this dream about this locomotive train. And it was this streamlined train. And it was, I looked up later, the symbol of the future. And this was an amazing dream. It kept coming and coming and coming. And I don't know how many of you have these reoccurring dreams that the universe is trying to tell you what to do, and you just keep ignoring it until it gets so strong. I want you to pay attention to those. We're going to go through them in my visualization, but my dream was of this train, and it specifically in the dream was coming from somewhere very slowly, and it was very slowly going in a super slow motion, and it was a perpetual train. Like it was going into infinity and coming from infinity. And I stepped onto this train because I could walk on it. And inside the train it looked like a control room, like a television control room with monitors and audio boards and sound equipment. And sitting at the audio boards was these high-backed swivel chairs with visionary leaders and scientists sitting in these chairs, and here's the essence, swirling around with total joy like kids, just like, we've just ruling the world and having a great time doing it, but not in a way that they were ruling the world, but they were enjoying what they did through communicating these messages that inspire positive growth and change. And that came to me, that line, communicate messages that inspire positive growth and change. And I kept hearing that, and I would come off of that train and I would see the word aware on the side of the train. And one day I shot up in bed after having that dream over and over and over again and said, all right, somehow I'm supposed to do this. Synchronistically, when I made that decision that somehow this was something I was supposed to do, synchronistically, which is God's way of remaining anonymous, I started to make a phone call. A friend said there's a radio station going out of business. It's called KYPA. It was in the middle of Los Angeles in this high-rise tower. And they're actually being sold to a Korean network. And the drive time hosts are leaving. Would you like to take the time slot? I'd never done radio before. I just television produced. And I thought, yes, I have something to say. I want to bring on my incredible man who's working with me with the neurofeedback. I want to bring this incredible healer who I'm working with, Michael Tamora, and talk about how psychic communication is possible and clairvoyance is very easy. And all of these incredible people that were doing wonderful things in the world. And that was when it just started to grow. I started on KYPA and I moved to KPFK in Los Angeles, and Coast to Coast AM, I host on the weekends, and Gaia TV and Hay House Radio, and where the messages are going, this has grown into a mission from God to communicate messages that inspire positive growth and change through conscious media. Can you hear it? Yes, that is what we're all up to. For 18 years, I've been broadcasting these messages from brilliant people who have incredible things to say, and each one of you have gotten it. Now you're the practitioners. Now you're the healers. Now you're the ones with the booths. Now you're the ones with the podcast and your own way of helping people and communicating your message to inspire positive growth and change. I am simply the platform to bring your messages to the world so that we can grow this world into a conscious place. We are dealing with so much chaos right now, and every day there's another school shooting. There's a crisis happening. We need tools. We need practical tools to regain our sense of community that we are the community leaders of when there is that next crisis, which I am sad to say there will be, but we're the leaders. We're the people that can help those around us when we hit that level. We can give them tools, communication, connection, heart space, so many things. You are those leaders. And for this long, we've been lifting leaders for 18 years of these incredible people that we've had on the shows, and you guys as well, bringing this level of communication to the world. Conscious media is on the rise. Finally, we got a call the other day from Gaia TV saying that our show had spiked in numbers when they put a search bar on their website saying, what are you interested in? I've been trying to tell them, conscious media, this transformational media, what is that? It's media that changes people, right? They said, well, great, your show's doing really, really well. And I said, yeah, because this is important information. It's not about the numbers in the show. It's about what people want to hear right now. And it's been like this for a long time. We're just now getting the technology and the media in order to back that up. So you have a goal. You have a purpose. You have a reason why you're here. That purpose burns inside of you every single day. You can't deny it. You can try. You can try. I've tried. Doesn't work. It just keeps pulling you back in because that's why you're here. And if you can get in touch with that purpose and really connect with it and yourself through daily practice, what was it that helped me rebuild my brain? Daily practice. And communicate to yourself and your brain and your neural bridges and build those every single day, you start to attract synchronistically, God's way of remaining anonymous, what it is that you want in life. This is what the law of attraction is about. This is what the secret is about. You know this. It's just getting that daily practice into your life. It is relatively simple. It is just something that we get. We go back into fear, we have chaos, and that ejects us out of that sense of purpose. It's got to be a part of who you are. So we're going to do a little exercise here where I'm going to ask you to just do a visualization with me. And the visualization is going to take that purpose, put it out into the future, and bring it back to now. So this will just take like 5 minutes because I really want you to walk away with not just sitting there and listening to my story, but really listening to your story inside of you and where you're going. Take this moment for yourself. I've got some beautiful music here by Jim Oliver, who's just an incredible transformational pianist.
If you're interested in speaking, exhibiting, or getting involved in the largest personal development expos in the world, contact us today at www.thebestyouexpo.com or send us an email to info@thebestyou.co.
So if you'd like to, close your eyes and just feel and be aware of your body, knowing that you are safe right here where you are right now in this moment. Being aware of your eyes slowly closing and your body firmly planted in your chair and your feet on the ground and your hands on your legs, just so that you're aware of your physical body. And just say to your body, I am safe. Your body is safely tethered to our beautiful Mother Earth. And imagine a grounding cord just dropping from the base of your spine all the way down to the core of the earth and tying around the core of the earth, knowing that that love for Mother Earth and you has this wonderful, safe relationship. And as you just calm your body amidst all the noise around you, come right there into the center of your head. And in the center of your head, you'll notice a room, a beautiful room. And this room is wide open. There's no walls. There's no furniture. There's just floor to ceiling windows. And it's completely clear of any clutter. This is your room. This is yours, inside your mind, where you get to walk around and create. And in this room, it starts to slowly lift, and you start to see the trunks of the trees and the leaves on the trees and the tops of the trees. And as this room starts to lift, you start to feel lighter. And anything that isn't yours starts to drop off of this room because it feels so much lighter to let go of those things. Let go of the feelings and thoughts that do not serve you. And just let go and receive. As you start to drift, you're lighter and you just start to float and drift and dream, and you get lighter and freer. And you notice on one of the walls appears a beautiful golden archway. And the golden archway has a button on the right side of it. And the button lights up. And it is a floor that appears there. And it says, the floor of negative thoughts. And you say, the floor of negative thoughts? I've been there before. I don't want to go there. I am going to make the conscious choice to rise above the negative thinking and rise above those negative thoughts and keep going and lifting yourself higher and higher. And as you do, you feel lighter because you made a conscious choice not to go there. And you see the next floor appear, and that is the floor of judgment. And you think again to yourself, I've been there before. I know what judgment does of myself, judgment of others, and I'm going to make the conscious choice to rise above that level of judgment because I know it doesn't serve me, and rise above that level of judging thinking, and just rise above, consciously lifting higher and lighter, lifting up and drifting and dreaming into that higher state of consciousness, that place where your dreams are created, that place where visions are made, that place where your purpose is. And you're going to see on the right side of the door another light. And it says, the floor of your dream realized. My dream realized. I can push a button and go there? Really? And you just get really excited and you say, I'm going to step into my dream realized. That goal that fulfills me, my purpose on this planet, and helps others. I'm going to step into that because I know what that is and I want to feel that. And you make the conscious choice to step into that dream realized. Push the button, 3, 2, 1, you step over the threshold and there you are. Wow, look around you. What does this look like? What does it feel like? What are you hearing? Are you hearing congratulations? Are you hearing sounds of love? Are you feeling hugs and handshakes? What is your internal dialogue? I knew I could do this. What are you tasting, touching, hearing, feeling, smelling? Light it all the way up, all around you. Feel that. This is your purpose. This is why you are here. This is the reason that you incarnated in this time, on this planet, right here, right now. Feel it. From the top of your head, let it tingle all the way around you. Take a breath. What's it look like? What's the view? Are you holding the hand of a wonderful partner? Are you looking out the window of a gorgeous view? What does it feel like to you? And just for a moment, you look back and you realize there's a road that appears. And you look back on that road and all of the things that you had to do in order to get here, all of those hurdles, all of those no's, all of those different challenges that you thought were there as a mistake were actually there for a reason. And you getting over every one of those and the forks in the roads and the changes and the obstacles and all of that was there for a reason. And you look back and you look forward into the future. And you look forward and down, there's a long line of people that are impacted positively by you creating this purpose, this incredible life-fulfilling purpose. All of the future generations that are affected by you saying yes, by you saying yes. Just realize the legacy that you will leave and the generations and the impact on Mother Earth by saying yes. Feel that. Throughout your entire body, feel that. And slowly we're going to take the feelings and the essence and the vibration and slowly back into our room of consciousness. And as we do that, we bring back those feelings. And only if we bring back those feelings with us do the doors close. And we start to drift and drop and dream back down, slowly back down towards right now, right here in this beautiful room next to the people we're next to, with the neural bridges being built of our purpose and of our desires. And bring that right back here, right back into this room, because that's what you just did. You can open your eyes when you're ready. And I want you to know, and we can bring the music down. Thank you so much. I want you to realize what you just did. The brain science behind what you just did was you built that bridge so that when you come up against your dream again, that purpose again, you now have created a memory in your mind that is then sending out a vibrational field of that dream realized back to you. If you can do that several times a day, it starts to create a field, an energetic field that brings it right back to you. This is now a scientific proven experiment that people have done, which I'm really grateful that the science is caught up to what we naturally know. In my book, I've actually put that visualization as a QR code, and I'm going to be in the booth 241, and you can get my book there. I can sign it for you. But if you have the technology, you just scan your phone across the QR code, and that visualization is in there, and you can listen to that over and over again, where you actually can go through that visualization and remind yourself of your dream realized. Because this is on you now. This is your purpose. No one else is going to do this except you. It's fairly simple, right? Is this something that you can do every single day? You can remind yourself and you can go through that practice and that visualization every single day? Yes. And so it is that, and I also have just to close this story, this crazy story of this mountain bike race. I went back a year later and I won the California State Championship that year because I did that for my own personal feeling of not letting the mountain conquer me, but being at one with that mountain. And because I had such an incredible time, I happened to have won that race and won the state championship title that year. And it was such a beautiful way to culminate that experience for me. But what it really was is the beginning of such an incredible journey. And that journey will continue on because I ain't stopping. I want to thank you. I want you, if you can, I have a free gift for everyone here. And these are some of my favorite interviews with Wayne Dyer and with incredible people. You'll see video and audio interviews on there. And if you text that number, text the word aware to that number, it'll send you back a little thing that says, what's your email? Just put your email in, and then it says, what's your name? You put your name in, and then in your inbox, a couple of minutes later, you will get this beautiful, I think there's about 9 or 10 of my favorite interviews that I've ever done. And these are transformational people that, Dr. Joe Dispenza, my mentor, Wayne Dyer, who I was lucky enough to have write the foreword to my book, which I still can't read without crying, because he had a way of really seeing people in a different way that they couldn't really even see themselves. And he saw me before I was ready to see myself. And he wrote that in the foreword to my book. And when he called me and he read it to me, I remember this day, I was on the floor in tears, and he was shocked because he was with a room of people, and he said, I didn't expect you to have that reaction. Let me call you back. And I was so, it just stopped me because I was so grateful that a man was able to see me before I was able to see myself. I only could hope to live up to the way that Wayne Dyer saw me. And I, every single day, do the same thing for all of my guests and all of my wonderful, wonderful listeners, is I see you even sometimes better than you see yourself. I see every single person whole and complete exactly the way they are. And that you are incredible children of God moving towards your mission and purpose in life. And we're in this together. So, go ahead and text that if you get a chance, and you'll get back some wonderful free gifts. And I really appreciate you being here today. And that is it. I will be in booth 241 if you want to get a copy of my book. Thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate it.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.